Yeah, this is gonna be a good finals. This is like a classic finals. I'm feeling like 2020 vibes here. Excited for this one, but it's kind of a reversal from back in those days when we saw these guys against each other all the time. Because back then, the Zerg, I would say, was the heavy favorite, winning all the big tournaments. But now, we're hot off the back of DreamHack Atlanta, and the winner of that is spawning in the upper left-hand corner. It is none other than Team Liquid's Clem.
And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have the Red Zerg player from the land of Italy representing Team Basilisk. It is Reynor.
It is indeed, deciding not to play on his main name account because he hates us.
Well, this is his new account. Have you seen Reynor? Have you seen him recently?
Oh yeah, he's got his frosted tips there.
You say tips, it's his entire head.
I know,
his entire head is why it's crazy.
I just wanted to say frosted tips because of Jack Frost.
It's true.
Yeah, the bleached hair. I mean, it's a look for him, you know? It's a good look.
Yeah, I was really shocked where he like it was after Atlanta where he just randomly rocked up. We saw him in WTL and he like Atlanta did one to him, mate. I don't know what you guys did to him over there in Atlanta after the tournament, but yeah, he's lost his color in his hair. It's all white.
We brought him to the 90s is what we did, you know? And he was like, I have to bleach my hair now. I'm excited for it. I'm really excited for when it does become frosted tips, which is when it grows out a bit and he has the dark roots and then he trims it.
Yeah.
I'm ready. I really hope that he gives us like, I want to see spiked hair frosted tips right now. Because he has the chance to do that. And I hope he doesn't miss it because that is
exactly. It's
a great opportunity.
Yeah. Otherwise, like, what's the point in bleaching your hair?
Yeah, I mean, for real. Like, what are you even doing?
Are you gonna... I hear your enthusiasm. Are you inspired? Are you...
No. I have done that many moons ago. I bleached my hair for a role in a play. And I did spike it up, and they did become frosted tips, and I'm glad I did it.
Yep.
But I don't need to do it again.
As we have a little bit of a micro dance here between Clem and Reynor. Clem, he wants the drone kill pop. He wants it, but we do force a cancel, and he gets away.
The queen says no. In the meantime, Reynor's got a third base over on the other side. So...
yeah, we're easing into this game. So far, it was a standard open out of Reynor. His third base was slightly delayed, but as you pointed out, you know, it was taken at the linear location instead. Likewise, we have Clem across the map, but going for a more economic opener, it's going to be a third CC before Starport.
Yep, I mean, that's kind of what I expect. Lots of macro play from these guys. Quick third CC out of Clem. That's what's so exciting about it. There's a Roach Warren.
Yeah, there's a Roach one here from Reynor. I mean, both Reynor and Soul have been very fond of Roach-based openers in this matchup. I don't know if you've noticed where it isn't. We're not going to be commit. We can commit to Roaches and go for like a 1-1 timing, but usually it's like Roaches to get into the mid game, and then we mix in some Link Bane thereafter.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's probably the more reasonable thing to do. Roaches are quite good against Terran at this stage of the meta. So it's very fair. I will say I've been casting a lot of Dark, and usually if I see the Roach Warren, I expect, just a bunch of Roaches to be made and go across the map. So I get excited when I see the Roach Warren now.
There's that meme where, like, you know, Dark and Cyril and Reynor, they all make Roaches, but we are not the same. You know, Dark, he commits, and the others, they just flirt with the idea of Roaches.
Yeah. Reynor is going to make a few here to help defend these Hellions, and he might try to push across them, but I really don't think so. He doesn't have Roach speed or anything. There's Banshees coming out of Clem. He's playing this very safe, very by the book. You know, Clem is he's kind of a by the book Terran a lot of times.
Yeah. Some say he wrote the book.
He did not write the book.
He's too young for that.
He might have some notes scratched in the margins, but this book was written definitely not by him. He's perfected this book. But no. Who wrote the book? That's a good question.
Who wrote the book?
That's a good question. You know, Maru has made a lot of contributions. I think a lot of this really stems from MVP back in the day.
Yeah.
This thing about the Terran book. The Terran book hasn't changed too much, really. Like, if we're honest,
you're not wrong.
like there's a few additions. There's like a Cyclone page in there now, but realistically, the majority of the book is just like MVP and Innovation wrote that.
Yeah.
And that's
there's a lot of like there's like a big page with like a picture of a Marine. You know, there's there's a lot of 111 in there, and there's not much deviation.
There's page 1 is Marine, page 2 is tanks, and then really after that they just kind of it's just refining that. Hero Marine, he's made a lot of contributions for sure over the years.
It's true. There was a page of Hellbats at one point, but that got ripped out. That back in Heart of the Swarm, we got rid of that page. Don't want it anymore. But so far as we mentioned, we only made 7 roaches. It was only 7 roaches out of Reynor. We now have Link Speed on the way. Link Speed was skipped to get into the early roaches just for safety, as we mentioned. And there it is. We have Plus on Melee on the way. So we are transitioning in the mid game into Ling Bane.
Yeah, and those first 7 roaches will undoubtedly become Ravagers. They're a really helpful part of a Ling Bane army. Better than roaches, I would say. Once the Ling Bane starts coming out. A few more roaches on the way here. Like you said, Ling Speed not quite done yet, so Reynor wants to just keep those roaches going. They'll be a little more helpful against the Marine drops that are starting to come out here. The Hellions really didn't get anything done. I mean, they don't even think a lot of creep tumors died. So Reynor's creep is starting to spread really far out here, and that's not something I usually see Clem let happen against Reynor. So he's got to get to work pushing that creep back.
That's like the power of the Roach, right? Like the Roaches, they just swatted away the Hellions at every turn. The Hellions couldn't really do too much. Meanwhile, the Roaches are trading against the Marines. We do keep up for the time being, drop into the main base. There's not much in position. Again, that's the downside of Roaches. They're very immobile, so there's potential for Clem, but Reynor, he's in position.
Yeah, good sport crawlers there for Reynor. He does not want to have to deal with the drops. The Roaches are quite a bit slower than Lings are. So getting from that 4th base to the main, it could be a little tough to maneuver those Roaches that way when you only just have enough to really take the fight. So the sport crawlers help keep that zoning away. He's actually got 3 in the main base. He is not messing around with those spores at all.
Yeah, he's fully aware of how fast Clem can be, right? Like, he's known for his drop play, so we take it seriously. And against any other player, this could be a little bit wasteful, but it does make sense against Clem.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned how fast Clem is, and I can tell you some secret insider information. It's not secret or really insider information, but I just happen to know that Reynor was, I think, feeling a bit disappointed in his results in DreamHack Atlanta. He was sick, and that's, a big part of the excuse. But I think in general, he wanted to shape up a little bit, and he's been practicing. And the way Reynor likes to practice for players like Clem, and this is something I've seen him do in the past, but he was on Uppatree's channel. They were playing Archon mode against Reynor, and it was 4 or 5 people against Reynor. Like solid, high-level players, Mixu and Foxer, and then some worse players like Sal. Playing 4 or 5 people against Reynor, and Reynor was just trying to deal with the multitasking and the speed that multiple people can combine to try to fight against somebody like Clem. But Clem's going for a big frontal push now. He is not splitting this at all. He is just pushing with these tanks into this base.
Yeah, we come in from behind the Lings. They get on top of the tanks as well. The Ravagers push on forward, and we will clean up the tank line. We push back the Marines as well. A beautiful fight here from Reynor. He does lose a couple of drones, but he forces back the army. Yeah,
I would say a very good defense there from Reynor. Letting the creep buy him some time. Just delaying until he had that wraparound with the Lings on the backside. Pushes that back. But now Clem is here with a double drop on the left, a double drop on the right, and this is where things can get really dangerous for Reynor. He's got to split his army accordingly and take good fights on each side.
Yeah, the multi-prong is upon us. We see Clem pushing on both ends. We do have Roaches that were left behind. Queens as well to transfuse. So far, Reynor is keeping up and he's looking to chase this down. At the same time, Clem, he dives deep onto creep.
Yeah, he's going right into this 3rd base. Going to try to get on the drones, perhaps, but he's fighting against the Roaches. He doesn't have enough medevac space for everything, so he fights until he can pick everything up, and then he gets out of there. The Queen's on this side killing some of those medevacs. And Clem, he is forced to retreat. Reynor holds on, keeps his 88 drones alive, keeps his bases alive. Loses some of that creep spread that we were talking about earlier, but I still feel like it's looking really nice for him.
Yeah, exactly. No active tumors, but we're halfway across the map at this point with that creep. And as you mentioned, Reynor, I almost called him Frost.
I know.
Reynor, he does clean up both armies at once, but we're not stopping here. Clem, he's already remaxed, already coming in with another army.
Yeah, he is not going to stop this pressure as long as he can keep it going. And while this one is taking a little bit of a back and forth fight, I think the queens on the right-hand side went down. So that is a big hit there for Reynor, who is not going to be able to replace a lot of that creep spread. Got to make sure he gets his injects going as well. But there are Vipers out now. The high tech is here for Reynor to help out against these fights.
Yeah, the Vipers have arrived. It looks like the drop on the right-hand side did kill the queens, but it was cleaned up in the end by the spores, by the roaches, and Reynor once again maintains his economy, and that's what's scary, what you just mentioned. Reynor this entire time, 89 drones, his economy has been left untouched, and he has hive tech. We have Vipers and Ultras on the way.
Yeah, those Ultras are going to be really nice here. We don't really have any Marauders out on the field. There are 4, but there's no Ghosts out. There's, yeah, just the 4 Marauders. Not a lot to deal with these Ultras. This is really good tech choice right now from Reynor.
Yeah, exactly, Clem. He's kind of stuck with a mid-game army here, and Reynor being a little bit proactive, diving into this army, does get some power bombs. Good splits out of Clem, though.
Oh, yeah, he does leave that last one right as you say that. And the Parabomb's going to get a few kills here and take a lot of those medevacs down real low.
Yeah, they get very low here, and here we do see the Ultras. They have arrived. Widowmine's going to be buying some time. At the same time, we do have Clem coming with a triple drop on the right-hand side.
Yeah, Clem wants to keep the pressure on. Reynor does have some units over there, though, that are kind of ready to deal with that. And he's continuing to push on the front. Reynor wants to keep these bases alive, keep these drones alive. He is going to push this away. The Widowmine's not really connecting all that well.
Good defense so far out of Reynor. At the same time, Clem was able to hold on with his Widowmines with his army, so Reynor was forced back, but he's getting into 3-3. Kind of splitting has now finished, and as you mentioned, there are still not many Marauders here. No Ghosts. We're transitioning into Liberators. Actually, we have a Fusion Core on the way, but that's still a ways away.
Yeah, he's trying to head that way, and Clem at the same time is taking a 5th base. But he's got those Ghosts coming out. Those are going to be hugely important, not just against the Ultras, but also those Vipers. EMPing or sniping those Vipers off is massive. They've killed so many of those medevacs with the Parabombs. They could drop some Blinding Clouds on this Bio army.
Yeah, there's a lot of potential with those Vipers as we're going to be pushing on forward. The Mine Shot's going to be going off, but they're dragged into the army of Clem. We're pushing forward once again. Big power bombs here on those medevacs, and Reynor, he's breaking through.
Yeah, he's starting to bust through into this base. This is not a planetary, so Clem needs to be super careful in taking this fight. He is starting to push this back a little bit. Not a lot of Lings or Banes left, so the Bio Army is going to do a lot better against Roach Ultra than the rest of that force. And Reynor, he's got to be careful not to lose a lot of these high-value units. Another Ultra goes down there. The Roaches and Ravagers trying to escape. 9 SCVs fell, but Clem's economy is still looking pretty solid here.
Yeah, exactly. You know, he's got all his bases up and running, as you mentioned, but here come the reinforcements, and Reynor does not turn back around. He still gets a little bit more damage done. 10 more workers go down. We catch a couple of units here in the back line. He's finally forced back, and we have remaxing with more Ultras, and this time Infestors. Yeah,
and we're starting to see some of the effects of those Parabombs on the medevacs, right? This army is still not healed up. There's a lot of yellow and orange units in this army. The medevacs just don't have the healing energy to deal with that. And as Clem tries to go out for some drops as well, that's more medevacs not actively helping. He's building 4 at a time, but it's going to take a little while to get that count back up. And in the meantime, Reynor is going to keep this pressure on. The sensor tower is spotting that, but that is so many Banelings rolling through. Clem has to just pull all the way back, pulling the SCVs back as well, as the Banelings are just crashing into everything.
Oh my god, they zone back the army. That's going to be a kill on the base, a kill on the mineral line by the Ultras. 17 SCVs go down. And with that, I mean, we can actually keep on pushing as well. We do get a couple of snipes in. 1 Ultra does fall, but now we're pushing on forward towards that planetary.
Oh, and with like 5 Ultras and Ravagers here, he might be able to get it. It looks like he is, even with the repair. Gonna sacrifice some of the Ultras for that, but I think Reynor is more than happy to do that. Clem is down to 138 supply. Whatever drop was happening on the other side of the map got cleaned up. And Clem is in dire straits right now, down to 3 bases. His army supply is below that of Reynor, and he just doesn't have any money.
Yeah, he is out of money. He is out of time here as Reynor snowballing out of control again. Reynor, his own economy was left untouched for so long in this game, and his macro was insane, just never letting up once he got across the map. The Liberators have arrived, but the Files, they take down one of them, and the Ultras, they bust into the natural.
Yeah, the Ultras are here. They're getting on top of all this, and if Reynor's able to get up the ramp, he'll get on top of the production, and that is going to be GG in Game 1. Reynor, that training is paying off as he takes down Clem.
GG, the training paying off. The frosted tips, papi. You know, they're the bleach injecting into his brain. It's it's helping him out here, and yeah, he's looking strong, looking powerful in Game 1.
Yeah, I mean, very solid game there. You're absolutely right. Bleaching the hair, it gives you, you know what it is? He didn't even bleach his hair. He just went Super Saiyan.
There you go.
That's it. It all makes sense.
There you go, Reynor. He has ascended. He's gone further beyond, and that was a solid Game 1 there out of Reynor. The map, of course, adding to this a little bit as well. You know, the rush distance by ground on hard lead, very short. So you saw that once Reynor got maxed out, once he got into his Ultra Tech, once he started pushing, he did not stop. He was unrelenting against Clem.
Yeah, and he had that, like, frontal base, too, right? The kind of forward base. And so from there to Clem's third, it's such a short distance. It just feels like it's right there. The moment Clem lets off on his pressure, Reynor just goes right across. He's right there. He's in your base.
Exactly. And Clem was just one step behind when it came to keeping up with the Ultra Tech, right? It's like when it came to getting into those ghosts and getting into those Liberators. He got there in the end. He did get there, but it did take a little bit too long to get there. And with that, Reynor does take the first game, but thankfully, it's a best of 5. Got plenty more games ahead of us.
So many games available to us. And I hope we get all 5 of them, just like we did earlier today. Or yesterday. Whatever day that was.
It all blends together, man. You don't even remember what we casted yesterday. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
I have no clue.
You're like, mate, I was barely conscious, okay? I was like running off of like no sleep. It's all a blur.
Honestly, it was probably some of the best casting I've ever done.
It was beautiful.
Maybe I should cast on 0 sleep more often.
Yeah, I recommend it. And so getting into this and spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Solaris, we have our French Terran player, our reigning ESL Masters Winter Champion. Down in this series, looking to fight back, representing Team Liquid, it is Clem.
And his opponent in the upper right-hand corner, going by Jack Frost because he's feeling cold, feeling cool, and calculated in the dead of winter. But it is Frosted Tips Man Reynor.
Does it snow where you are in the Americas?
It does, yes. It doesn't snow in this city like a lot because usually we get rain, and like the temperature doesn't often fall low enough for it to turn into snow. That being said, we're supposed to get snow this weekend, so we got like a big old cold front coming in and should get some snow. Nobody here can drive in the snow.
Okay.
So that's fun.
Okay. Wait, is no one allowed to drive or no one can drive?
No. They have no ability. They have no ability to drive in the snow. What was really funny is last year, not the snow, but there was like a day where it got super icy, and there was just like an inch of ice all on the ground, and the amount of accidents that happened was crazy. And also watching people fall. I feel bad, but it was hilarious. There were so many good videos of people falling. Like I watched a compilation video of people just slipping and falling. We had people call into work because they like left their house, slipped and fell, and they were like, "I'm not going in." Oh, it's beautiful.
I like the idea of like, yo, it's gonna be snowing this weekend. It's gonna be so great. I'm gonna just, set up a chair. I'm gonna look outside the window and I'm just gonna look at the street. I'm just gonna watch all these cars just sliding around and just just enjoy the festivities of the snow. And obviously, hope everyone stays safe. But enjoy.
Yeah, it should be fun.
Okay.
It should be fun. But yes, it does snow here. Does it snow where you are?
Oh God, no.
No.
Hey, we're in Australia, Poppy. It's not. It does snow in one in like the mountains, like in the
Sure.
when you go up into the altitude, that's where snow is. That's where you have like ski resorts and stuff like that. But that's like the only place where there's snow in Australia, pretty much.
Yep. The rest of it's just desert.
Yeah. Pretty
The good old outback.
Mm-hmm. Never been. It's there's cities here in Australia. There are things that aren't sand and deserts.
No.
Sometimes.
I went to Australia. It's not true. Don't listen to him. It's literally just that. Have you guys watched Mad Max? It's just that.
Yeah. That's a documentary.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, the first one especially. That one's actually just Australia.
Oh, that's peak Australia. Yeah. Beautiful. As we're diving into this, there was a little bit of miscontrol earlier. Clem did end up losing a Reaper outside the natural, which was a little bit uncharacteristic. But outside of that, we're getting into our builds. Once again, it's going to be 3cc. This time, we're going Viking first, though. We're not going for an add-on sword. We're not rushing into Banshees like we did previously.
Yeah, not too worried about being hit by a bunch of roaches. And I don't remember those Banshees really getting too much done last game. They did more just... hitting roaches and ravagers in the middle of the map for like half the game, but eventually Biles were able to take them down, or parasitic bombs, and I don't blame Clem for just wanting to skip that in this game. It's one of those things that, like, going for the Banshees, it's a good safety move in case your opponent does want to all in you with some stuff. I don't necessarily expect that from Reynor here, though. That's if Clem was playing Dark, I'd be like, he needs the Banshees, needs them.
Yeah.
But
100%.
against Reynor, I think he can play a little bit fast and loose with that kind of stuff and get into a quicker stim. He does have a Liberator coming out, so still a little bit of potential for harass.
Yeah, opted to go for the Viking into Lib Opener instead. As you mentioned, because there's no add-on swap, we have faster stim here for the Terran, and we are going to be moving out. The goal here is we have Hellions from one end, we have Liberators from the other, so Clem is going to be looking for an opportunity to dive. He doesn't have to, but there is potential for damage, and it's going to be on Reynor to keep up, as he has opted not to go Roaches this time.
Yeah, and this is a lot of Hellions. It can definitely get some damage done if he gets in. I don't know if I expect Clem to try to dive in on the drones. There's enough Lings out where I feel like it might be better just to poke the front, maybe try to get some of those creep kills, or keep the queens out here. He's doing a great job keeping these queens out here, which is going to make the Liberator a little bit scarier in the main base.
Yeah, so there we go. Lib diving into the main base at the same time. As you mentioned, Hellions are keeping the queens busy, keeping them preoccupied, but we do have a handful of them diving in. The Spore is done, and the Liberator is going to be denied.
Yeah, Reynor has 11 queens already in this game, so I guess he doesn't really have to worry about the queens being separated. He's got Spore Crawlers in position too, and Clem is just not finding any damage here. He's killed one Ling and one Overlord this game, and that's it. He is not getting anything else done. Hasn't even cleaned up any creep tumors just yet, but with 11 queens, doesn't even matter.
Yeah. Exactly. You bring down one tumor and two more pop up to take their place here as the Hellies. They get a couple of drone kills, two workers go down, and then we get the hell out of there. Again, Clem really respecting the positioning here of Reynor, recognizing that they won't be able to get too much more, so he does just get a couple of kills and backs the hell off.
Yeah, I like that choice a lot. I feel like every time these days that I see a Terran player dive in, oh, poor Viking. Every time I see those Hellions dive in, it always feels like a mistake. Even if they get like 8 drone kills, I'm like, well, now the Zerg doesn't have to worry about them, though. They're not on the map anymore. They're not a threat anymore. Whereas as these Marines come out in the medevacs, suddenly Clem already has potential for multi-prong, right? He already can move the Hellions over to one side or defend with them in this situation against run-bys, and then put pressure on with these Marines. And I feel like that's a much more powerful use for those Hellions than diving them in and maybe getting some drone kills. So I like that he keeps them alive. This double drop is going to get shoved away pretty quickly. Ooh, those Marines get in there.
Yeah, it is going to be forced back, and I definitely agree. I think there's like a bit of a misconception where Hellions, they don't really scale amazingly into the mid game. That is true, but there's still so much more value you can gain out of them. You don't have to just throw them away, whether it's harassing and getting into another mineral line, for multi-prong, or even just joining the main army. Cure, he's so good at like going for a 7-minute tank push with also preserving his Hellions and having Hellbats to support his tanks to make sure they don't get surrounded by Lings. So there's a lot you can do with them, and we'll see how Clem kind of pieces this all together.
Yeah, I mean, now that they're alive, yeah, they're just going to group up with these Marines and Mines over on the left-hand side, and suddenly that force looks so much scarier than if it was just the Marines and Mines. Now these Hellbats morphing, and suddenly Reynor's got to deal with this in a different way. He does have quite a few Banes coming in. He's got to watch those Widow Mines, but these Hellbats are going to help hold the front line. More Marines showing up here. There's still that double drop on the right-hand side that Reynor needs to keep some units split off for. So he's got to split correctly. The Banelings coming in. A lot of those Hellbats do go down, but this allows the Marines to stay alive for even longer. Taking down that Spore Crawler. Widow Mine, almost getting some friendly fire there. Reynor does force Clem to lift up, but 11 drones have gone down.
Oh my god, yeah, there was a drop here towards the south. 11 workers have fallen, not too bad here. As you mentioned before, we did distract Reynor and damage was still done. Oh my god, the friendly fire!
Oh, that Widow Mine killed both of the full medevacs. Friendly fire too good. Clem is still keeping that pressure going, but losing that is so painful. Now Reynor just doesn't have to worry about that side, and look at the creep spread in the meantime. That was hitting the third base of Clem. He's finally going to clear up some tumors, but that is huge. Reynor, I feel like deflecting this is doing so well right now.
Yeah, exactly. As you mentioned, he still may have lost a couple of workers, but regardless, Reynor, he's on 80 drones regardless. He shuts down the drop play, and the creep is just giving him so much time to rebuild, to remax. He is going Lingbane into Hydras. Infestation Pit is just now about to finish against Hive Tech, so we're still in a Lair Tech army, but overall, Reynor is keeping up. But can he continue to keep up because Clem is pushing?
Yeah, Clem's going to keep that pressure on, and Clem was doing very well before losing those two medevacs. So I still think this is a very dangerous position for Reynor. He's got to respect this. The Hydras do give him a lot more stability in these fights. They can do a lot better against the Marines straight up. But he's still got to watch those mines. He's splitting off Lings individually to try to get these kills, but any single mine hit can change the nature of this game.
Yeah, but so far so good here. The Widow Mines, they will not connect. They get shut down here. Not a single one. One goes off towards the air, but no big connection. And Reynor is going to be forcing Clem back.
Yeah, pushes this whole side of the army back. Even forces Clem to kill one of his own Marines. Ooh, the other side, things getting a little bit dicey with these Widow Mines, but Reynor holding on for now, not taking really any damage, and forcing another lift up.
Yeah, good connections there. Meanwhile, we do have the Hydras coming from behind. We're looking to collapse on top of these medevacs.
Oh, yep, he's trying to get them. The few Marines left to defend them, but one medevac goes down. This drop heading towards the main, but there's, again, a ton of Spore Crawlers in here, and that's going to make it so much harder for Clem to get anything done.
Yeah, we have the drop into the main base. We do peel off a couple of units. At the same time, we're pushing towards that triangular third base, but we are in position. Oh my god, the Bailings, they do crash in. They get some connections, but most of them go down.
Yeah, and now the Hydras are a little bit exposed. The Lings are coming down to help out, but Clem is reinforcing with those medevacs that were going to drop into the main base. So now he's got a lot of healing potential and a ton of Marines, and all those Banelings died. So it's basically just Ling Hydra for right now. Reynor's got to morph a few more as some Widow Mines drop in to this fifth base. Not getting a lot of damage done, though. Good splits there from Reynor.
Yeah, good reaction out of Reynor, losing 2 drones to 3 Widow Mines. At the same time, he collapses on this army. Even without Banelings, he still has enough to overwhelm. Clem forces him back, but Clem's still not slowing down. He's on 4 bases, trying to get a 5th soon up and running, trying to be active here, but it feels like Reynor has taken control of his side of the map.
Yeah, Reynor's been deflecting these attacks consistently. Really, since those 11 drones died like 6 minutes ago, not much has happened. It's just been trading army for army. Now, like you said, Clem, he's going to take that 5th base. Reynor is working on getting a 6th base going, but he's on 97 drones. He can take these kinds of trades all day, and he's got 5 Vipers coming out now. His hive is done, and he's getting into lurkers against this very Marine-heavy composition out of Clem.
Yeah, exactly. Marine Mine, we need a transition to Ghost into Liberators, just like the previous game where Clem is stuck with this mid-tier army and his opponent is getting into Hive Tech. But before that happens, we have another big engage, forcing a bit of friendly fire. Widow Mines are going to be going off, and Reynor is getting ready to collapse. At the same time, though, Clem pushing once again towards the north.
Yeah, this is the power of Clem, right? He's focusing all the attention down here on the bottom side of the map, but he is going to be heading to the north side with a lot of stuff. Reynor has split some Lings and Banes off, and it looks like it might delay Clem a little bit, but he's focusing down every single Baneling. Oh, beautiful Blinding Cloud, and the friendly fire Widow Mine doing so much damage to everything here. The Hydra's cleaning up the rest of those units. Oh, but Clem is pushing in down here now, and he's actually starting to break through a lot of those queens going down. And it looks like the 6th base is going to be in some trouble.
Yeah, Reynor may defend the north, but here towards the south, we are gaining ground as we do finally force this back. The queens did fall, but the hatchery survives. The drones survive, and the Vipers, they have arrived as we do see Reynor getting ready to go for his own counterattack. Lunkers, they are finally on the way. And previously, the Widowmines did more damage to Clem than the Banelings. That was crazy. That was
yeah, I mean, like,
the Trader Mines once again.
Genuinely, the Widowmines are winning the game right now for Reynor. But he has successfully pushed Clem back on both fronts for the time being. He keeps that 6th base alive, which is huge. He doesn't have a ton of queens right now. I think he's down to, yeah, he's got 4. So the amount of injects he has is pretty low, and he's playing with a style that he needs a lot of injects. He needs a lot of larvae. So keeping even just 1 hatchery alive is going to be pretty massive here.
Yeah, exactly. Good that you point out some of those queens going down just because the creep is receding. Like, the creep spread has stopped at this point from Reynor, and it's not going any further from here, not without any additional creeping queens. But the lurkers have arrived. That's going to be a little bit more larva efficient from Reynor as he is holding on with the bare minimum here towards the north. And there we go. Sag defenses on the way. Reynor just walling up.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is a great choice, but it's going to be really hard for him to take another base. And in the meantime, Clem is mining nicely on 5 bases. He has those ghosts coming out in droves, and I feel like Clem set himself up in a really nice spot. Yes, Reynor was holding on for a long time, but like you said, that creep spread has been pushed back pretty substantially. Reynor's gonna have a hard time continuing to expand, and he did not break through into Clem's base at all in this game. There were no run-bys, there's no Banelings hitting planetaries, none of that.
Yeah, exactly. We haven't touched the economy yet. We are encouraging once again the Widowmines. Oh my god! The mines working against another big powerbomb on the softened up Medivacs as well.
I mean, that is massive because, yeah, those Medivacs are just about out of juice. They're all very low. And this is going to give Reynor a chance to actually continue to poke through here.
Feels Widowmine, man.
Dude.
Oh my God, you said it before a little bit jokingly, but unironically, they're kind of they're putting in a lot of work here for Reynor as he does force back the army. Did lose a couple of Vipers, but 3 of them did survive. And again,
sorry.
Burrowed Banes, they are being, that's all good. They are being set up here towards the south. Not towards the north, though, as, we do catch a lurker.
Yeah, and that's where Clem is expanding right now. He's kind of just holding the 3rd base down on the bottom side, but Reynor just has nothing up on the top side to deal with that base at all. He is going to come back in down here, though, taking a nice fight. Parabomb going to kill a couple of those Medivacs as he is pushing this army back. The speed zone's really helping the Lings and Banes to get closer to this bio and keep pushing Clem back. Clem finds some reinforcements. Ooh, but he still has to keep pulling back. Reynor is really pushing into him right now. He's got more Banes, more Hydras. And Clem's army feels like it's getting smaller and smaller. Look at that supply fall down under 150.
Yeah, Clem, that was a really awkward fight for him. He lost a lot of ghosts there in the retreat. He was caught out from behind as well. Meanwhile, here come the reinforcements. And again, Clem, he gets caught in a really awkward position. He will have to evacuate with what little he has, but he has been broken. And we are pushing in towards the bases. We can actually try to collapse on top of this planetary.
Yeah, Reynor's just going to go for it. He finally sees an opportunity to get some economic damage done to Clem, and he's going to do it. He is going to take this base down, and that's going to leave that base to the north side a little bit more vulnerable. Reynor might be able to just continue his pressure up there. It's not even a planetary yet.
Not even a planetary. Looking at the vision, Reynor actually hasn't seen it. He's unaware of that base location yet, but he backs off and he's not going to be resting here. He has a wave of lunkers on the way, and after killing so many ghosts, I mean, this could be what he needs.
Yeah, there's only 3 ghosts left on the field right now, and of course, Clem needs to get more bio out. He can't afford to be building a ton of ghosts. He needs those Marines and Marauders to hold it down before he gets all the ghosts out. Are those burrowed Banes? That's crazy.
Yeah.
Sorry, I have the I have the logo on the map. I don't know if you do too, and it's like really hard to see those Banelings.
That's fair enough, fair enough. Yeah, the Banelings are there. Vipers coming in from behind as well. Overextending though. Up.
Well, they get 1 Parabomb, but still good positioning here from Clem. He's going to be able to hold this ramp. Reynor is finally trying to take that base as these lurkers get in here. Well, the 1 lurker gets in there.
Yeah, the lurkers, they come in for a bit of a backstab, but they don't really get too much damage done. But here comes Reynor with the rest of his Lings, gonna try and collapse on this small army.
Oh, some Widowmines trying to get it done here, but there's only a little bit of bio to actually clean this up. And it's not just some Lings, Banelings and Hydras show up as well. This 3rd base is just getting rocked. And Reynor can just get in here, get this damage done. He should be able to retreat down to the bottom side of the map where he's expanding as well. Double expanding top and bottom side. Oh, no! Wait. Oh, there it is. Reynor gets the Burrowed Bane hit. Beautifully done. He's hitting the top side as well, I think with some lurkers trying to pull Clem's focus here. As Clem's going to be forced to repair that planetary. He doesn't quite kill the third base, but he kills a bunch of the workers. Clem down to 65 SCVs. The Liberators coming up here to clean this up as the lurkers try to maneuver around and get more SCV damage. Finally, that third base just getting completely routed. Oh my god! Oh no!
Okay. Oh. They're there. They don't quite connect yet. Reynor just teasing us with those bird bailings. I'm sure just waiting for the opportune moment. But regardless, as you were saying, a lot of workers did go down. Barely any mining going on here at the Northern Planetary as well. And Reynor, he can soon commit once again. Just rebuilding here with his Vipers, just remaxing his army.
Yeah, he's just trying to keep Clem back, keep the man down. He's going to push him back up this ramp, and this time he's thinking about those banelings, but unburrowed. Didn't get a ton done there, but they killed one Widowmine, I guess. Looks like Clem might just barely have enough to hold on here with the healing from those medevacs. He's got a lot of Liberators now. And Reynor is going to have to do something about those Liberators. There are 10 of them in the sky. All right, there's 7 of them in the sky as he comes back into this base. This is now an orbital, so the bio has to get here to defend this and try to push this back. The Widowmine's finally working for Clem now instead of working for Reynor, though.
There we go, as they do finally help out the Terran for once in this game. They do force back Reynor for the time being. Reynor, he has a massive gas bank. He does have a lot of minerals. He's actually struggling to remax right now. He doesn't have the most minerals to work with, as we do see Clem stabilizing here on his bases. He still has top left up and running. He still has that center base as well.
All those SCVs in the top left are so low, but turns out they mine the exact same amount with 1 hit point or with full hit points. And yeah, Clem he's stabilizing his economy. Now, Reynor did take both the north and the south base. Those are both up. They are running. They have some amount of... they had some amount of drones at them, but all of a sudden, 13 drones going down. And it looked like Reynor was in such a powerful position, but Clem constantly taking better trades over and over again, reestablishing his bases, and now Reynor can't get above 160 supply all of a sudden. He's floating 4,000 gas, but you're right, he has no minerals.
Yeah, no mineral income here for Reynor. He desperately needs his space up and running, but there is zero mining going on whatsoever. Reynor, he's in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, he is completely on the back foot here, trying to get some more lurkers up, but there's not really a great answer for all of these Liberators, plus the ghosts underneath, getting snipes and EMPs off on these key units. Down goes one, both of the Vipers going down there. And Reynor's going to go for it. He's going to try to push forward. He's at 156 supply. I don't know that it's enough as more ghosts show up. The bio from the bottom side going to get on top of these lurkers. And I think that's just about it for Reynor. This feels like Clem cleaning up Reynor's last hope.
Exactly, the lurkers, they go down, the Hydras as well, and Reynor has almost nothing left. This mineral line is his last bastion of hope, and it will soon be going down. Still no mining whatsoever here towards the south as well. Reynor, he is out of money, out of time, he's just running out of everything.
Yeah, he'll hold on for now with the Ling and Hydra reinforcements, but Clem, he's just waiting for his own bio reinforcements, and I think he's going to be able to push this right on back. He's up 40 army supply, he's even dropping mules. He's so confident he is going to be able to hold on to this base, and he's absolutely right.
Yeah, exactly. Reynor doing whatever he can to try to hold. We do have that that spore crawler here towards the south. We can finally get that base up and running, but again, it may just be too little too late at this point because Clem is about to max out.
Yeah, I mean, Clem is just so far ahead at this point, and he's just going to keep this pressure on. The spine crawlers coming in to try to help out, but against Stim Marines, I mean, these spine crawlers are just not going to last very long. It's 3-3 Marines. A ghost gets yoinked. I guess that's better than nothing as these Vipers are trying to get something done. A few lurkers show up. Those lurkers can be crucial against this, but Clem splitting, taking as good of a fight as he possibly can here, maintaining that army supply lead. He is going to have to pick up and get out of there, though.
Yeah, again, Reynor is doing an amazing job here at holding on here. He yoinks another Liberator. Meanwhile, across the map, still no mining as we peel off a couple of Marines here. Only a couple of Marines is all we need to deny mining once again at this southern base. Liberators are heading towards some of these other fringe bases to pick off whatever they can, and we are just amassing that death ball here. It's impressive that Reynor's been able to hold despite being so far behind, but there's only so much he can do.
Yeah, I mean, he has these bases now to get some amount of mining going. And maybe he can take efficient enough trades to hold on. The Vipers really help. The Lurkers really help. But Clem, as I say that, dives in on top of this. And once again, just clears everything that Reynor has. And this time, Reynor is not going to be able to push this back at the very end. All of the drones are going to fall. The Lings and Hydras gathering at the top of the ramp. But that is a small consolation when he's already lost the entire economy here.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, this is mainly medevacs, so a couple of medevacs do go down. We even force some friendly fire from the Widowmines once again. That's 28 drones falling, and this southern base is about to be laid siege upon by Clem's reinforcements. The Hydras they're getting, rather, are actually pushing towards the center base.
Yeah, Reynor's going to be able to get some damage done here. He's down about 80 supply, but he is killing a base that Clem can pretty easily retake once the army leaves. And at the same time, Clem is killing that base on the bottom side. He's going to be killing the drones there if he decides to scan, and that is just going to be it as Reynor loses his army, loses his economy, and Clem ties the series up 1-1.
GG, well played. A back and forth there. Initially, Reynor had so much momentum on his side with the help of the Widow Mines, of course, of Clem. But even with the help of the mines, wasn't enough to trade efficiently enough. And it did come down to those last two bases. So it was the north and south, the fact that Reynor could not get them up and running.
Yeah, I mean, that was such a crazy game. It really felt like Reynor had such a good opportunity to get in there. I think the fact that he missed that upper left base, that sixth base, and wasn't able to go take it down, ended up really hurting him. He had an opportunity where I think he really could have gone and killed all the SCVs there, and Clem able to hold on to it just by the sheer virtue of Reynor not thinking about it.
Yeah, that was a really pivotal moment, right? Because that's when Reynor, he had momentum. He just shut down the center fifth base, but he didn't get eyes, or he didn't know about the sixth. And he definitely had the army to do so, to actually get there. Especially if you remember, it wasn't even a planetary, right? It was just a vanilla base. So there was very little to defend there. If only Reynor was aware, he probably thought he was further ahead than he really was, when he backed off, thinking that he had crippled the economy of Clem.
Yeah, and then the follow-up lurkers, it felt like that was going to be a game-ending move, and it just ended up not being. The ghosts already coming out for Clem, the constant hitting in multiple locations. The lurkers ended up being on their own a couple of times and didn't really get done what they needed to get done.
Did not. And with that, we have a back and forth. Clem, he takes game one. We have a tied up 1-1 score, and we still have so much more ahead of us. As a reminder, it's a best of 5 grand final, so we at least have 2 more games.
Yes. Hopefully 3. I feel like it's going to be 3 with the way these games are going. This is exactly what we expect from Clem versus Reynor. These guys are so good. They know each other so well. They practice against each other and play against each other all the time. It's great.
Yeah, exactly. It's great to see these two European titans face off here in the land of the Americas. We didn't even get to talk about it, but the fact that I can't remember the last time Reynor went full degen and stayed up this late and played in ESL Americas. Like Max, Pax, and Clem, they wake up at like 3 p.m. in the afternoon. It's fine. Like, it's fine. Like they're all about this ESL America's life, but not so much Reynor.
It's true. I feel like Reynor used to do this a lot more often, but yeah, I haven't seen him play in a ton of ESL Open Cups really over the last year, 2 years even. He used to play in these a lot more, but I feel like maybe once he won Katowice, he was like, I'm kind of too good for that now, Like he and Cyril will just never sign up.
Yeah, sometimes it takes something to kind of like light the fire underneath a player to get their motivation going. And yeah, it is really cool to see him competing here in this weekly in ESL Open Cup Americas, and he's had a really solid run so far. He took down Dark to make it here, and what a beautiful finals we have. We rarely get to see Clem and Reynor in these weeklies.
Yeah, it's really nice to get to see this again in the grand finals. I felt like this was going to be the finals when I saw the bracket. I was like, I think we have to have a Clem Reynor finals. I hope we do.
The stars, they aligned, and we do have it here. And looks like our players just need a moment to just gather their thoughts, and I don't blame them. That was a very intense game. That was a very intense game too. So we just need a moment to breathe here while we get ready.
Yeah, and Reynor, I'm looking at it now. He hasn't dropped a map yet today. Beat Cure 2-0, Dark 2-0. Clem also not dropping a single map against Parting Hero or even against Pig.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah. You know, I got really excited actually when I got into casting Clem versus Pig. They both had picked Protoss, and I was like, oh, dude, it's gonna be a PvP. Let's go. And then Clem was like, no. Damn.
Feels bad, man. They teased you, Bobby.
I know. I got so excited. Turned out to just be another TVP.
He has gotten players to off race against him before. I remember. I think it was Estrella. I think he goaded Estrella into playing Terran against him, and I think Pig won. I think he beat Estrella like that one time. It's crazy. Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, Pig is like really good. You got to be careful, man. You got to really be confident in your off race to take him on.
Yeah, definitely. But here we go. Looks like our players are ready, and we're going to be loading into our next game. We're going to be loading into Site Delta.
Oh, yeah. All right, okay. I like me some Site Delta. I feel like I usually see Roaches be pretty good on this map against Terran.
Yeah, I mean, this map is an interesting one. It's very wide open in the center of the map. Can allow for some really massive surrounds and engagements, but it's also quite spread out as well. So I mean, we'll get into it. It can lead to a lot of really amazing games. And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Site Delta, we have our French Terran player tying up the series 1-1 in that last game. Representing Team Liquid, it is Clem.
Ooh, and he's got that low ground wall getting started there. Might be going for some Reapers against his Zerg opponent down here in the lower right. We see him as Jack Frost, the cool man, but it is, of course, Basilisk Gaming's Reynor.
And this is an opener that Reynor has been very fond of in ZVT. More often than not, we've been seeing Reynor go for a 15-15, which has kind of risen in popularity over the past year. Of course, it's the Eric opener. Yeah, really an alternate way to open up nowadays.
I like that. Just changing it up a little bit. Probably doesn't affect too many things, but you know, might have a good couple of use cases against certain builds or catch other players off guard.
Yeah, the way it works is that we have delayed gas, we have delayed link speed as a result, but we get faster queens. Faster queens will be coming out for Reynor. They will be coming out in time to defend, and usually you skip links and you defend with queens, you just drone and you be greedy. But because of this double Rax opener, Reynor will have to get into link production, and this may hurt him a little bit here because his link speed will be delayed to deal with the eventual Mass Reaper. Yeah,
and I wonder if this is maybe why Clem wants to go for this. Maybe he knows Reynor's been doing this build and delaying that link speed a little bit. Wants to try to take advantage of it with some Reapers. It's funny, this was such a common thing for a little while in Korea, the 2-Rax Reaper, and I feel like it's fallen off. I don't see it all that often anymore, except for Beyond, who still loves to do this all the time. But Clem has really adopted this. He brings it out in quite a few TvZs.
Yeah, as you mentioned, basically ever since the new patch, this 2-Rax Reaper build has fallen off. We see like Cure whip it out like once a week or something. Like it's very it's not really seen too often outside of players like Clem and Beyond. So it's really cool to see once again. The way this works is that we're going to be getting into up to at most 5 Reapers, and the goal is to delay this third basis, to force a cancel if possible, or maybe even get some drone kills.
Yeah, I mean, it would be very ideal to see the cancel get forced on this. We'll see if Clem starts focusing on that soon. Like you said, without link speed and without any lings on the map or in production, these queens have a lot of work to do to deal with this. And I think Reynor might have already accepted that he's going to have to cancel this base because it seems like he's just chilling for now.
Yeah, so this is going to be a really good start for Clem. Again, this is what he was hoping for in the ideal situation, is to cancel this hatchery and to contain Reynor to 2 bases. Now, Reynor, because of his opener, he didn't make any lings, and really bold here for him to just refuse to make any lings whatsoever, despite the fact there are all these Reapers, but he's buying time with this hatchery, and he can get away with just purely queens to defend.
Yep, and it's funny, this is only 3 Reapers. Usually we don't see 3 Reapers able to force the cancel on this base, but because of Reynor's opening that we were talking about with the late ling speed, and like you said, he just decided not to build any lings, he is going to have to cancel this. There it goes, the very last second. Doesn't even get to save the drone. And this is a great opening for Clem. I mean, this is fantastic. He's going into double Cyclone off the back of this. Damn, all right.
Let's go. This should be double Cyclone into Hellions. We'll see if he commits to Cyclones and spices things up. But yeah, really interesting follow-up. It's going to be a bit of a 3cc before Starport. Usually this leads into like a 3cc 2-1-1 or maybe like a 3 or even 4-rack. So yeah, really interesting follow-up out of Clem.
Yeah, and I wonder if this is because of what he's seen, right? No lings. He might be worried about roaches or something with this. He just hasn't really seen anything. And I still don't think the Reapers have really gotten into the base to see too much. He just sees queens for now. And maybe he just wants to poke at these queens with the Cyclones. Those can be super annoying against queens.
Yeah, I mean, especially if we did skip Link Speed. Now, Link Speed did just finish up, and Reynor is making a wave of Links to help defend, but the Overlord is going to be shut down, and Clem is going to be reinforcing these these Cyclones with Hellions. So even with Lings, we will have some supportive units here to keep these Cyclones alive.
Yeah, those Lings are all popping out right now. It is quite a few of them, so the Cyclones have to be a little bit careful. Those 2 Hellions can help out, but this feels like it might be enough Lings with a couple of Queens to actually take this out.
Yeah, we can see that Reynor, he wants to lure the army in. He's getting ready for a mass around here on these Cyclones. It looks like he's going in.
Ooh, yeah, he's going to force the micro away here. The Reaper Grenade helping out, but the Cyclones get trapped. One's going to go down. The second one will go down. And now the Lynx can just back up. The Queens can handle the couple of Hellions and the single Reaper. That is no problem. And Reynor holds on against the annoying Cyclones.
Yeah, very nicely done here by Reynor to come in for the surround, to set up and to shut this down. And now suddenly, as you mentioned, this army is that much less threatening as we even try to surround the Hellions. Oh, God!
Great movement there by Reynor. Clem does see it at the last second, so he's able to save 3 of those Hellions. But he's kind of got to back out for now. And look at how early Reynor's 1-1 is. Because of the way he's open and the way that Clem is open, Clem's eBay is just finished. He's going to start up his 1-1 now. Reynor's is like 3/4 of the way done.
Yeah, really greedy follow-up here because Reynor, he actually delayed his lair. So he delayed his lair, he delayed his Baneling Nest for really fast 1-1 upgrades, and they're almost done. This is actually insane how fast they are. So yeah, there's a bit of a give and take here. It can be risky. If there was like a Hellbat push or something, then we would have been in a lot of trouble, but we've survived the early game and we now get into Baneling production.
Yeah, and I mean, he's got 10 queens, so those guys help quite a bit with these lings. And if those lings are able to hit 1-1, which they are about to, it's going to make these Marines a lot less powerful in these fights.
Yeah, exactly. And we're going to be coming in just to clear up as much creep as we can. The Hellions morphed into Hellbats as well. We can threaten this base, but as you mentioned, with 10 queens, we should be okay. As I say that, we do stand forward.
Yeah, and where are the lings here? There's a bunch in production, but the queens are kind of on their own right now. The drone's getting jumped on as well. It looks like the Marines will be pushed away as one of the medevacs died. And Clem doesn't want to stick out here if he's not going to be able to retreat at all. He stims again. A lot of these Marines are very low. He wants to focus this base down.
Up! Up!
Oh, no!
That's a kill!
He doesn't get the cancel. The Queens accidentally hit it once, too, just to add insult to injury there.
Yeah, not like this. So suddenly, despite the greed, despite the upgrade advantage, Clem, he does well for himself. Killed 3 workers, killed a hatchery, 300 minerals down the drain, and now suddenly Reynor is stuck on 3 bases.
Yeah, that 4th suddenly feels super late. The 1-1 ends up being basically not helpful at all, as there were no lings there. There's still not a ton of lings out on the map. 22 in production right now, so they're going to pop here, and a few banelings being morphed as well. But now we've got a couple of Widow Mines, and those do not care what your upgrades are.
Yeah, they do not care whatsoever. Big mine shot here on the Queens. We do transfuse the Queens. They're holding strong for the time being. Looks like Reynor should be able to force this back. But again, behind this, we have another drop moving out. We do see the multi-pronged aggression coming in for Clem.
Yeah, and this is where things get really tough, right? This first double drop is already doing so well, killing this Queen in the main base, killing some drones, keeping these Lings and Banes out of position, and that's just going to make it so much harder for Reynor to handle the next double drop, which is already just boosting up to that 4th base. He wants to just kill this base if he can.
Yeah, Clem has a lot of momentum right now. After killing the base earlier, after stifling the production here of Reynor, Reynor is struggling, and this hatchery, it may go down.
Yeah, Clem, I think he can focus it down, but he's got to be careful of those Banelings. Some Widow Mines getting good connections here, and that base stays alive, but Reynor does not. As more drones going down in the main, that momentum from Clem is just too much.
GG, well played here. GG as Clem does pull his opponent out, just left and right, pulls him apart. And Clem, despite the what looked to be a decent opener out of Reynor, yeah, just got out of control. GG.
Yeah, I mean, I liked Raynor's setup there. I just feel like maybe he was hoping that that push would come a little bit later, that initial Marine Hellbat push. He just didn't have any lings out to deal with it. 1-1 was done, and he had like 12 lings. And it just felt like that was so much investment into something that didn't help at all. By the time the lings got out there, we had already had so much damage done by Clem.
Yeah, exactly. Like it was maybe Reynor being a little bit too overconfident. I mean, we pointed out, right? Like 10 queens, right? Like that's a lot of queens. You know, maybe he had a little bit too much faith in those queens initially, and it was not enough to actually save his base. And to lose that fourth, that was like the first domino falling, and they just kept falling in favor of Clem. It was yeah, things escalated very quickly.
Yeah, and that's the danger of this matchup, particularly between these two players, is once that momentum's on your side, it is so difficult to get it back, right? Once your opponent has that momentum going, it's such a momentum-based matchup, especially the way these guys play it. So back and forth, so aggressive. And now we're getting into game number 4 here, and on match point in the lower right-hand corner of Golden Aura, it is Team Liquid's Clem.
And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Red Zerga player representing Team Basilisk. It is Reynor. Once again, going for the 15-15.
Yeah, you know what? Sticking to his guns. He's like, I like the build. Maybe he thinks, I made the mistake, not the build. It wasn't the build that was the mistake. It was me. And he knows he can hold on.
Yeah, I mean, it was also like there's a lot that really went awry for Reynor just because of the opener of Clem as well, right? Specifically because of the build choice of Reynor, he had to cancel his third base, right? So he already was kind of in a rough position to begin with, just stuck on 2 bases, delaying his third. And that shouldn't happen this time. This time, Reynor should be able to establish his third base.
Yeah, that's a very good point. It was just a great opening for Clem. Turned out sometimes the build order just kind of wins it for you. And in that game, that was a big part of it.
Yeah, it was a big part of it, but this time, you know, Reynor should be a lot more comfortable. The other plus side here is that going 15-15 and even going gasless is a lot more viable on Golden Aura just because of how consolidated these bases are. Like the natural and the third base are so close together. There's no, like, it doesn't take too long for the queens to rotate between them, and you can kind of delay links quite a bit. Like Dark loves doing that. Dark, he goes gasless quite often on Golden Aura.
Yeah, I mean, the super heavy queen openings have been very popular, and they're pretty good. Queens, turns out, are quite good. We did see a bit of a weakness in the last game of going super heavy queens, but even then, they held on for a very long time.
They did, and here we go. The aggression has begun. We do have the first Reaper getting across the map. The Queen does pop out in time and will fend this off. Again, the Queen is slightly earlier just because of the build of Reynor, and he should be able to force this back, and he's going to be joining heavily behind this, delaying his links.
Yep, just not even worried about lings, not worried about the Reapers hitting him again. The Overlord went in a little further this time, so I think a part of the last game too, the Overlord did not go in to see the natural wall. He did not get the scout on the 2 Raxes in the wall. And so I think by the time he realized what it was, he was like, all right, there's no recourse. I'm just going to have to cancel this third. But this time he goes in, he sees exactly what he's up against. He's not afraid of the Reaper follow-up here, but it's another double Cyclone follow-up. Clem, he has been loving these Cyclones, man.
Yeah, really interesting here. So once again, third CC before Starport, straight into Cyclones. Now, just like the previous game, I'm pretty sure this is only going to be 2 Cyclones, then the Hellions. Again, Cure is very fond of this, and I know that Cure and Clem have been doing customs together now that they're teammates. It's been really cool to see. So yeah, they are playing very similarly here. This is just a really good way to gain map control early on.
Yeah,
we're continuing.
As you say that, 2 more Cyclones going to pop up here, it looks like. Or at least 1 for now. And that link speed, that feels even more delayed than last game. I mean, it feels so far away right now. as these Cyclones start moving across the map. But a few Lings are coming out. Those should be able to help out against this at least a little bit by just buffering, drawing those lock-ons. Yeah. But it is multiple Cyclones coming out behind this.
And this is such an aggressive build from Clem because it isn't just the Cyclones as he's trying to get a lock on and trying to be a little bit assertive. Behind this, delayed starport. He goes, I thought it was going to be a 3cc 2-on-1. We have a third Rax as well, a very delayed starport in favor of mass units, of mass Marines, the Cyclones, Hellions, everything.
Yeah, I think he wants to try to take advantage of the fact that this is going to be low gas for a long time, so not a lot of Banes coming out here. It's just going to be Lings and Queens. And he's trying to put that pressure on, maybe utilize these Cyclones to force some transfusions early on here, keep that energy low, and then that follow-up stim Marines. A lot of Marines will be coming out here. Yeah. Can take advantage of the lack of energy, but oh no, the Cyclones getting caught by the Lings. Beautifully done by Reynor. Delays with those Queens and then just crushes through everything Clem has.
Wow, 2 games in a row. He lures in the Cyclones on to creep. Oh no, I'm stuck, Step Bro. And then the Lings, they come in from behind and they catch those Cyclones. Big moment here for Reynor. And suddenly, without the Cyclones, this next follow-up push has that much less bite.
Yeah, and I mean, there is a third CC for Clem, so it's not like he was all in on this idea of the big push, but it's a very delayed starport. It's going to make it a lot harder to get those drops going and multi-prong going without the threat of the Cyclones and Hellions out on the map too.
Exactly, like there's going to be very delayed metamax, which means delayed drop play, which means very little map presence. And now Reynor, he has so much more freedom here in this game, taking his 4th base, droning up. He's even getting eyes on the 3rd as well, and there's not really much threatening Reynor anymore, not until those metamax come out.
Yeah, he can kind of just chill for a while here, and that's never what you want to give the Zerg as the Terran player, right? We talked about that momentum. Right now, Reynor's got the momentum on his side, and Clem needs to figure out how to get it back. He's going to shark in here with the Hellions, but 4 Hellions, not the scariest thing in the world. Oh, no!
Speaking of, yeah, the Hellions, they get spotted. The Lings, they dive into the natural base. SCV is going to be going down. We do have some Marines to defend, but that's going to be 3 dead workers and a lot of lost mining time.
Yeah, and I mean, this is just, again, so good for Reynor. Killing some workers here, lost mining time, keeping Clem back at home even longer. Tries to get into the 3rd, but the Hellions came back to defend as well. But overall, I mean, this is still just great for Reynor. He's getting his drone count up to 75 right now. His Bane Nest is on the way. His 1-1 is, again, a little bit faster than Clem's. So he's going to be even or ahead on upgrades for a while. And now as Clem finally moves across the map, another run-by is heading in towards that 3rd base. And I feel like Reynor is very well set up to defend this.
Yeah, we have the Wall of Queens here once again, but do we have enough Lings this time? We do. The Lings are going to be coming in to help respond, to help to defend here. So we have a couple of mine shots going off the Lings. They dive in.
Yeah, a few Queens do go down there. Reynor losing a couple of those before sending the Lings in. But I think it was worth it to tank those mine shots, each one only getting 1 Queen kill or even just damaging a Queen. And that means the Ling count can stay very high up. We got 42 Lings out on the map right now.
And oh, this is going to be interesting here. So as you mentioned, we have really fast upgrades. Once again, the Bane Nest was delayed. The lair was delayed, but we're going into Lingbane Muta, not Lingbane Hydra.
Yeah, and you know what? I noticed last game that Reynor had put down the Spire. Obviously, the game didn't last much longer after that. But it's a very interesting choice here off the back of this, kind of late gas, late Ling speed opening. But it kind of makes sense. I like this choice a lot.
Yeah, exactly. We'll see if we can get there. Meanwhile, the Widow Mines are going to be going off. Good split so far. Oh, as we do shut down those Widow Mines. The drop is still being active, trying to force a cancel on the 5th base, but we are keeping up at the same time. Clem being active here on the right-hand side.
Yeah, there's no Lings over here to support these Queens, and all those Queens from earlier are just getting taken down. But oh no, the Banelings on the SCVs, and while Clem is getting some good damage done on Reynor's side of the map, he just loses 17 workers. He's down under 50 SCVs all of a sudden. And Reynor, his 5th base is on the way, and he's at 87 drones.
Yeah, exactly. In the midst of the multi-pronged aggression of Clem, he was not paying attention back at home. Neither were we, because there was a lot going on. And just like that, a mineral line goes down. Another Ling run by coming in, and there's very little to defend.
Yeah, just a few reinforcements here. The Widowmine going to try to help. But at the same time, Clem is pushing on the top side. He's got some Hellbats. He's got this drop down here. Lots of action all over this map. 11 more SCVs going down as Reynor tries to hold his 4th. It looks like he's able to keep that 5th base alive for now. Oh my god, some big Widowmine shots. Reynor does hold on. And he's got 5 mutas on the way now. Oh my god.
He's barely holding on. As you mentioned, really big Widowmine shots. Looks like this hatchery is barely going to survive. Only one Marine made it out and was not able to get a kill on that base. And it looks like Reynor, he has weathered the storm. The mutas are soon to arrive.
Yeah, and once those mutas are out, now 16 in production at a time, all of a sudden these drops are going to feel so much less impactful as the mutas can kill the medevacs.
They can shut down the Medivacs. Meanwhile, Clem is just going to keep it up again. He's all in at this point. He's completely all in. He has to end the game here and now. He has to deal some crippling damage. He does break through into the mineral line, does force back the drones.
Yeah, I don't know where the Lings and Banes are right now. It looks like Reynor doesn't have quite enough. He's going to dive in with the mutas as the Banelings pop, forces the lift up. The mine's not getting any big shots here. And Clem falling back to some reinforcements. He is up in army supply right now. It's the one thing he's kind of got going for him. But his 2-2, I don't know if something died or if he canceled it, but his armor is so late. I think the NG bays might have died in the natural. But Reynor's been working on 2-2 for a long time. And Clem is going to hit +2 attacks soon, but those upgrades are crucial in these fights.
Exactly. The longer this goes on, the better it's going to be for Reynor once he gets his production up and running. But here we go. The Widowmines have arrived. At the same time, mutas are across the map. We're looking to harass and cripple the economy again, but can we afford to do this?
Yeah, I don't know about this for Reynor. He's sending a lot across the map with those mutas. He's going to kill a lot of SCVs, but like you said, Clem is already kind of just completely all in anyways. He is going to have to lift his third base, but there's nothing here to deal with this Liberator right now, and it's just getting a lot of free damage on the Lings and Banes.
Yeah, the Queens were reset. The 5th hatchery has gone down as well. That was killed earlier. The mutas doing what they can. They're going to be dealing with these Marines again. They do deny some mining. The mine shot! Woo!
That's a beautiful mine connection. Reynor has to be careful here. He's got 8 more mutas in production, though. He's going to go up to a very high muta count. A Thor is out. The mutas have to run away. Oh my god, the mutas! So low.
They barely escape. 8 mutas did go down in the harass, and with that, even though the mine shot catching another muta here in the retreat, Clem, he's falling further and further behind, though. Again, we have to end it here and now. Army-wise, he's still looking pretty comparable to Reynor. He can still take a fight, but it all comes down to this next fight.
Yeah, and Reynor, I mean, he's got to hold on. He could try to sacrifice this base and put himself a little bit further behind. He's just got to be careful not to eat too many big mine shots. The Thor holding the front line to help out against these mutas, maybe tank some Banelings. Reynor's going to dive in, though. He's got to split against the mines and try to get some connections. The Thor goes down. Still a few Marines left, but Lings forcing the third to lift up. 11 more SCVs falling. Clem just getting more all in by the moment.
Yeah, exactly. His economy is non-existent at this point, and he's running out of steam. The Thor went down. The Widowmines as well. We only have Marines. GG gets called, and Reynor ties up the series 2-2. We are going to the ace match.
Yes, love to see it. Reynor holding on there. The run-bys were the real trick in that one. Lots of Lings getting through. The Banelings obviously smashing into 17 SCVs. Just keeping Clem's economy down and crushing that momentum that he had from the very beginning, from those Cyclones dying. It felt like Reynor was just in control of that game, and Clem wasn't able to get the damage done he needed to.
Exactly. A much more comfortable game out of Reynor, much more comfortable early game. And yeah, as you mentioned, once those Cyclones got cleaned up, Reynor was in control. Whew. And now we get our ace match. We go all the way. We go the distance to game 5.
Yes. Yes, thank God. This is what we really needed. This is what I needed on my Monday, you know? Still at the start of 2024, and yeah. Yeah, it's still Monday here.
Yeah, it's fair. It's fair. Exactly, a great way to start the year as well. It's going to be a great year, full of Starcraft, full of so much, and I honestly I can't wait for IM Katowice. You know, that's on the horizon. Both these players will be there, and they are both very much so in form.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think Reynor did have a bit of a fire lit under him after Atlanta not going the way he wanted to and not feeling 100% about his play. He did that thing, the gamer thing, where he sat up in his chair, he leaned forward.
He did a posture check, you know.
He did. He
took a moment, yeah.
And then he bleached his hair, and now here we are in Game 5 of the finals. So it must have worked.
It must have worked, and here we go. We have our ESL Masters Winter reigning champion in the bottom left-hand corner, the French Terran player, looking to end it all, looking to get another win under his belt, representing Team Liquid. It is Clem.
And his opponent in the upper right-hand corner telling him to put that tongue back in his mouth. It is the Italian stallion in the red. For Basilisk Gaming, it's Reynor.
Here we go. And once again, I'm getting deja vu, Chickenman, because we have a 15-15 out of Reynor. Again, he's very fond of this, but this time Clem is going for that 2 racks.
Yeah, kind of a repeat of the opening of Game 3, so we'll see how this one differs, if at all. And I don't know, it's kind of interesting here. I wonder what Reynor is going to do to change it up. We'll see if that Overlord is able to get the confirmed scout on the 2 racks. I think that's a really important piece of why that last time this happened in Game 3, it didn't go particularly well for Reynor, right? It was very late that he realized what he was up against. But that Overlord should be able to come in here and get the scout.
Yeah, should be able to confirm what is going on. Likewise, the rush distance by ground on Alkione is also longer as well, so that could also help assist Reynor when it comes to his defense. Against this, we'll see, as the Overlord is soon to dive in, and we will be committing to Reaper production. Now, as you mentioned, we shouldn't be investing too hard into this. Last time, Clem was able to accomplish a lot with only 3 Reapers, but he can go up to 5, and he can invest a little bit more if he wants to deny that third.
Yeah, it really just depends on what Clem wants to do with this and how much he wants to invest into it. 3 Reapers is kind of the minimum to make it worth the opening. But it's the more like macro-friendly standard version. It's kind of what I expect Clem to do here, but I've seen definitely 4 or 5 come out. There's no 3rd racks with this, so it's not going to be like 9.
Yeah. Not going to be that much as Reaper has arrived. Queen pops out, and we will be fending this Reaper away. Now, because Reynor is aware of the opener, no 3rd. We don't even attempt to take the 3rd base, so there will not be a cancel because there's nothing to cancel.
Yeah, and I mean, I think this is absolutely what Reynor should be doing here. Again, with that late link speed, he's got the queens to defend against these first few Reapers, so he probably won't be losing too much. One of these drones getting a little low, but saves it.
Does save it in the end, and Reynor is going to be able to hold on to his bases. Again, we have a 3rd and 4th queen on the way. Link speed just now starting up, and on the one hand, oh, let's go. We are going straight into a Roach Warren.
Yeah, I like the Roach Warren choice here. Now, there is link speed. He's going to be able to have lings with this as well. This isn't a full investment into Roaches, but wants those stronger units. Now, Clem only went into 2 Reapers. We talked about 3 this whole time, but Clem, as soon as he saw no 3rd, he stopped building the 3rd Reaper, and he just went straight into the add-ons and straight into, I assume, double Cyclone once again, and that makes these Roaches feel a little bit less powerful, that he's going to have double Cyclone coming out.
This is so clean. This is so clean out of Clem. As you mentioned, right, to cancel that 3rd Reaper that he was building, does take down the Tumor as well. Roach production has commenced, and Cyclones are exactly what he needs to help defend against that. He also spotted the Roach Born, so he could go into Marauder production if need be, as he already has Stim in production as well.
Yeah, and that Tech Lab's a little bit vulnerable right now, but I mean, I just love this position right now for Clem. It feels like Reynor is trying to answer this, but he still doesn't have a 3rd base. We're 4 minutes into this game. The 3rd CC is finished, and there's no 3rd base for Reynor.
We're not droning. We're not droning. We're massing links right now. Here we go. Reynor, he doesn't have a 3rd because he doesn't need it. He is going all in.
Yep, and he has decided to channel Dark for Game 5 of this series. And he's like, you know what doesn't deal with Speedlings particularly well are those Cyclones. Now, there are some Hellions coming out as well, but this is going to be a lot of pressure on to Clem in the next couple of moments here. And all of his production is right in the wall. This is actually very dangerous for him. It's going to make those biles really, really painful for Clem.
Yeah, like this natural is so congested right now. If we can take control of the wall, we can take control of the production, and then suddenly Reynor, he can snowball into a win. The Ravagers are whirling on forward. Can we deny Stim?
We might be able to. There's Lings coming in from the other side, getting the wrap around. These Cyclones are not going to be long for this world as they both go down, getting stuck on the starport. Like you said, it's so congested. More Cyclones are popping out, and there's a lot of Marines here, but Stim is denied. So all these Marines are just unupgraded completely.
Yeah, vanilla Marines. We do have a bunker in the background. We do fully wall off, but again, without Stim, what can these Marines really do? As the Ravagers are going ham here, we're still making more Roaches and more Lings. Reynor is expanding, but he is still not droning behind this.
Yeah, I love that choice right now. I mean, he's taking that expansion so he can start droning really at any point he wants to, but he's feeling like he can get some more damage done here. I love the little Cyclone drops. That's some cute micro from Clem, but he's forced to lift this factory, and that's going to give more surface area for those Lings if they want to try to bust in. Reynor decides to back off, but he's not backing off too far right now. He is just waiting for these units to try to pop out here. These Ravagers staying alive just barely.
Yeah, Clem being a little bit cheeky here, trying to pick off a Ravager if possible. So far unable to, but these Ravagers, they are so very low, so close to going down. We reinforce some more Lings, more Ravagers. Again, we're still not droning. We're still just producing nothing but army. Reynor is still all in.
Yeah, and I think Clem was maybe expecting the droning behind us, but he realizes what he's up against. Stim is not going to happen up there. Definitely not. The SCV is a little bit late to that party. But there's a second bunker going up. Clem has realized he's up against a player who's decided he wants to kill him, and he's going to do everything he can to do it. Picking up those Cyclones, dodging the Ravager shots, but the Bile is going to take down one of the bunkers. No, it stays alive. It's getting healed. Clem is holding on. Oh my god.
The repairs are insane. We do see the Marines, they're flooding on forward. A lot of Marines are going to be going double. We're cleaning up the Lings.
Yeah, and the bunker holds. 17 SCVs went down, but Clem is still ahead in workers. Finally, the bunker falls, but there's a backup one, and all those Lings are dead, making this a lot less scary for Clem to push out.
And mate, those two Cyclones survived for so long. This one Cyclone's still there. We're going for a tank drop. We want to chase down these Ravagers, and we should be able to pick off at least one of them. We're going to try, but now we have Lings to help support. And again, Reynor still hasn't droned, by the way. He's still all in, and Clem, he's holding. He's so close to surviving this.
Yeah, I mean, with 3 CCs too, even losing a bunch of workers, he's already up 10 workers again. He could just rebuild those, drops a few mules. His mining is way better than Reynor's, and this production, as vulnerable as it's been, has been producing consistently this whole time. And now with tanks out, it's going to be so much harder for Reynor to bust in.
Yeah, 2 tanks sieged up behind the mineral line here, behind the main base. Lings, they try to flood on forward. 1 tank is going to be piled down, but the Lings, they get cleaned up once again. And Clem, he is pushing this back. He's cleaning this up.
And that is GG. Clem holds on against the all-in of Reynor. Reynor realizes that he is, in fact, not dark. Couldn't bust him.
It's crazy. He is not dark. GG, well played, Clem. He somehow survives. Very impressive. Who needs stim? Who needs combat shields when you have Marines, a couple of Cyclones, and a Dream? Again, really nice juggling there out of Clem. Really nice control. Attention to detail, keeping those Cyclones alive, using them to focus fire as many Roaches and Ravagers as he could. That was crazy.
Yeah, that was really insane. Those Cyclones staying alive forever, dodging so many Ravager shots, which is crazy micro. I mean, that's the kind of thing only the top, like, 2-3 Terrans could pull off. I joke about it, but that push from Reynor was really, really powerful, and Clem just barely holding on over and over again on just a slightly better economy, and that was enough to end up winning it.
Yeah, a lesser player would have died there, definitely. So that was such a close defense, such a clutch hold there from Clem. Things were looking a little bit dire for him, but as the game went on longer, he was looking more and more powerful. And yeah, I mean, I don't fault Reynor going for that. Unfortunately, he did telegraph himself a little bit with that, with the positioning of the Roach Warren, which was scattered immediately. But at the same time, it did also look like Clem believed that at a certain point the all-in would end, and then like that's why he was pushing out. That's why he was being a little bit more assertive. And Reynor, he just committed.
Yep, Reynor was like, I'm gonna stop building drones now, and he didn't build a single one after that. You know, he sticks to his guns, and I appreciate that about him.
Exactly. He is a keeper. He commits. He does commit. And with that, congratulations to Clem for becoming this week's champion here. Even though this was Reynor's, return, his comeback to ESL Americas for the first time in a very long time. Again, I don't know when the last time it was that he did play in ESL Americas. I want to say months, maybe a year. I don't know. But yeah, it was a really good performance, but unable to take it all the way to the win here from Reynor.